Hey guys, welcome back to Tully Television. Bart here, and we're going to be getting into episode 2 titled Infected of the show The Last of Us. But before I get into all that, I want to thank every one of you for stopping by, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. If I have yet to earn your subscription, I hope that today is the day. You just hit that red subscribe bar down below. And let's get into it. Episode 2 of The Last of Us. Starring, of course, Pedro Pascal as Joel, Bella Ramsey as Ellie, Anna Troy as Tess, Christine Hakeman as Dr. Ratna Pertui, Pertiwi, written by Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin, directed by Druckmann. I was gonna say Kirkman for some reason. Dirkman. Um, if you remember the last episode, we left off Joel having to fight off a perimeter guard because him and Tess were going to bring Elle to another group of fireflies to in exchange for a working truck battery to go find his brother in some outpost in the Outlands, who the brother is also working with the Fireflies or met up with the Fireflies since episode one and episode and the present day. Um, we see Joel and Tess trying to confront Ellie about uh, how is she bitten, how long was she bitten, why wasn't they told that she was infected, and they kind of knew that a little bit at the end of episode one because Tess had seen the machine showing that she was infected, but when they came across the guard at the end of episode one and they had to fight him off, that's when they really knew for sure she was infected, or at least it's reading that she's infected, but not turning into the the zombie that these spores make you turn into. We also get earlier on in the episode a doctor being tracked down uh, to study a specimen that the government has very early on, in which this infection began to grow across the nation. She doesn't believe that it's from people initially, the way that this spore is moving, this fungi, but she soon learns that it is, and she explains to the government official or the military official that ended up tracking her down and having her look at these specimens is that there's no medicine, no vaccine, no way of curing this disease right now, whatever it is. And she's been studying it all of her adult life, so she knows for sure that just like the scientist in episode one that said that this could possibly happen, well, she's also confirming now that there is no cure for this initially. So, when asked what should they do, she suggested bombing all heavily populated areas to prevent the growth of this fungi, but that may not even be sufficient enough. And we learn through the now coming back to the present when Tess, Joel, and Ellie are walking through the city that is what they did. Some of the bombings worked, some didn't because it still spread across the world, leaving, however, a limited amount of survivors. Now, 20 plus years later, since the initial outbreak, Ellie seems to be the only one that has been bitten and able to recover fully from these bites, from this fungus attack. As we're catching up with Ellie again and explaining some of the tests she had to do, like coordination tests. Uh, they kept pressing, well, why let her live? And she's like, well, maybe because I didn't turn into a monster the first 24 hours or whatever. And that quelches the questions for now. But when she goes, uses the restroom, Joel and Tess begin talking about what they should do. Tess thinks they should continue on for nothing else but to get the truck battery to go find his brother, whether she is really the cure or not. That at that moment, that's not their concern. The brother is. So Joel agrees. They get to a point where they need to go either the short way, which is more dangerous, or the long way, which will take up some time. They initially decide to go the long way, but can't because of a recent blockage. So they have to go through the short way, leading them to be attacked by a group of these fungi zombie. Um, at some point, we see Elle getting scratched, and again, we see that she is cured from that scratch without turning or getting sick. But as we realize that there's now a horde coming for them, because even if there's a spore field open in one area and you touch it, zombies from across the city can sense that because of some hive mind that they have connecting. So even if you don't see any zombies around and you happen to brush against some of these spores or these tentacles that are coming out, like they're really paper thin, that will indicate to, say, the zombies a half a mile away or half a block away, hey, come get these guys so we can, spread our seed. As that's happening, they're realizing now a horde is coming to this building where they were going to meet the Fireflies to drop Ellie off. But we realized that in their confusion, one of them had turned. Thus, everyone began shooting at each other, killing each other, and so we really now are stuck with Ellie again not being able to be transferred back to the Fireflies, and it's up to Joel and Tess to figure out what to do. That's when Tess reveals that she's also infected and convinces Joel to bring Ellie all the way to wherever he needs to bring her, because this should be proof enough that she got scratched twice or bit twice or bit and scratched twice, and she's fine. It healed. But me, look, it's spreading like so rapidly. You gotta, whether you believe it or not, Joel, you gotta bring her to where she needs to go. He agrees. Um, and then Tess blows herself up and the horde in the building that they come rushing through as Ellie and Joel leave the building. We see now that the path is going to be a grumpy old man and snarky teenager. Uh, the wacky odd couple, a road trip apocalypse trip, adventure, and we're gonna see obviously Ellie learning why he has become a grumpy old man in the apocalypse. It's mainly stemming from the loss of his daughter. Him and his brother apparently having some sort of falling out. Since then, now Tess sacrificing herself, he feels like he has lost everything around him, and any wonder he's cranky. But not only because the fate of the world hangs on it, he feels he's probably going to start understanding that uh, these two are going to build a bond that he may not be ready for, but he's willing to accept the mission and is going to bring her to where she needs to go. And yeah, it's been a pretty decent series so far. I definitely give this like an 8 out of 10. The only thing that I wish would do, if you're gonna do the time jumps, try, because kind of disrupted the pacing a little bit in this episode. But in an overall sense, I think the writing is good. I think that the translation from the game to the screen has been working well. It helps that Neil Druckmann is the creator of the game and of the show and has a heavy hand in it. I think it's going to be a Walking Dead situation, maybe where if this lasts for a few seasons, he'll definitely have a heavy hand in it in the first couple of years. I like the acting in it. I like the way it looks. The CGI looks pretty decent. Um, Not too many complaints. Just like I said, the timeline jumps may disrupt pacing a little bit for some. It did initially for me in the second episode. Um, I didn't know that they were going to be doing the time jumps throughout the series like that. But it's a good series so far. I highly recommend it. I really can't wait to see where the future of this series goes, and give it a check out, man, on HBO Max. But that's my review on episode 2, and until next time, peace, Snookums.